Hey gang, welcome back to Top 10 Tuesdays. We are going to do our top 10 favorite moments in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Man, the lighting is terrible in this place. So, Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is just an amazing thing. I have read comic books for over 40 years. I own a comic book store, so this has always just been, nah, this isn't going to happen. We got Batman, we got another Batman, we got another Batman, we got a Batman. Hey, there's Superman. But as far as Marvel goes, it's just never really been a huge thing. And then 10 years ago, we get Iron Man, and boom. So some of the Marvel moments on here, they're mostly in order. A lot of them are significant to my love of the comics, and not just because they happened in that movie. But we'll get there. Now, a long time ago, before these ever happened, I would have never dreamed of seeing a good Incredible Hulk on screen. Now, I love the TV show, the Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. That is literally one of my favorite TV shows. More story driven than because of the Hulk, but seeing the Hulk, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Marvel character on the big screen, is just phenomenal. Seeing people like Doctor Strange, who I've read for years, Captain Marvel, and fucking Rocket Raccoon, okay, a very low-key character whose first appearance was in The Incredible Hulk, by the way, in the comic books. But all of these characters coming to life on the big screen, finally, and I get to be alive when I see these, 10 years of this. So I got my list out here, and I'm going to go from 10 to 1. Number 10 is Falcon getting Cap's shield. In the movie universe, this is really nothing yet. We've not seen what would happen, what could happen, what they will use, what they won't use, if they'll go further with this or not. But in the comic book art, where Sam becomes the Captain America with his wings and his costume is so amazing. I absolutely love that story. Falcon is one of my favorite comic book characters from the 70s and 80s era, and it's just so cool to see him being used, and not just in the movies, but in that capacity as Captain America. Number 9, Spider-Man grabbing Cap's shield in Civil War. And young Peter Parker, he knows nothing. He's just overwhelmed by everything. Snags Cap's shield, and that moment right there is just phenomenal. Number 8, the announcement at the end of the original Iron Man, which is still so badass. To open all of this up, we get this movie. And it's like, holy shit. And then he announces, I'm Iron Man. Great moment, great spot to end on, just phenomenal. The Cap, Winter Soldier, and Black Panther fight in the highway. Had a little, it's just so good watching all of those characters fight, and then, it's just great. It's just that whole scene where they're doing the car chase and some of them are running down in the tunnel. That's just such a cool spot. Number 6, the elevator fight with Captain America, when he tells them, hey, if anybody wants to get out, here's your chance, and then proceeds to whip like 10 guys in an elevator. It's just not only a funny thing, it's a great choreographed fight scene, and such a Captain America thing to do. Number 5, Thor fighting Hulk in Ragnarok. Being a fan of the Hulk, I've not only read but watched all of the Hulk things. There's a storyline in the comic books called Planet Hulk, and this Thor Ragnarok happens in that storyline, focus more on the Hulk than anybody. But getting to see that arena and the Hulk fighting was just like a dream come true. Number 4, when the Hulk grabs Loki and it's puny god time, and he's slapping him back and forth, that is such a Hulk thing, and such a, you know, a true laugh out loud moment when he does that. It's just, it just brought tears to my eyes. I was laughing so fucking hard on this. Number 3, 3, 2, and 1 are by far the best in the entire MCU. And number 3 is at the end of Ragnarok, when Thor gets his powers back, and as soon as Led Zeppelin starts and the lightning comes, that is just like this all-empowering moment. You got Zeppelin, you know, the gods are helping the god strike down with lightning. It is just phenomenal. There's nothing, you know, that whole movie's great except for the Willy Wonka shit. The whole movie is amazing. Even the beginning with the demon and all of that same kind of feel. The end is just, wah, that was terrible, but that just fucking blew me away. Number 2, Cap finally picking up the hammer. That was something I waited for since they met each other in some kind of fight. When is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? Then the hammer gets destroyed. I'm like, he's going to pick up the hammer. And then there's another hammer, and Cap picks it up, and it's one of those like crowd cheering moments. Like you're in a theater, which I don't like noise, but when you're in a theater with people and something like that happens, I can only compare it to, and I've probably said this before, in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when Yoda whips open his robe and the Force brings the lightsaber to him and lights up, the entire crowd just fucking erupted. And that's what this was like in the theater. You know, the little boy in me was coming out going, yeah! And then everybody was screaming and yelling. It was such a great moment in this. And number 1 has to be reserved for every one of the Stan Lee appearances. Stan is the man. I have the privilege of meeting him 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. I had him sign a copy of the Incredible Hulk TV show's pilot. I have just the pilot on the DVD. And, oh, it's way over there. I'd grab it, but it's way over there. Somewhere on that wall. It was just basically a passing by, a hello, how are you kind of thing. Look up, greet you, and move on. But meeting him, being in the same, 6-foot area as Stan Lee was like being in the presence of a god. And that's why I'm putting him at number 1. Having him be in all of these films was so brilliant. Bringing him up in different ways just for that little 30-second spot was such a great idea, and it was so cool for people to just wait for that Stan Lee spot. Now, my favorite, I believe, was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. Where he was an astronaut talking to the Watchers, telling them a story. That was just the Stan moment for me. Of all of these other moments, that is the Stan Lee moment. And then, of course, that's number 1, but I have an honorable mention. The entire opening to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where Baby Groot is dancing, has to go to the most happy, energetic, fun opening of almost any movie of all time. So, there you go. There's my top 10 favorite MCU moments. Rest in peace, Stan. Thanks for the stories, and thanks to you for me being able to make a list like that. So, later. Excelsior.